Welcome to the Boating Business Success Podcast, where we talk about success stories from industry professionals. We provide you with expert insights, and we also discuss exclusive strategies to market and sell more boats. Today, I have my friend, Rusty Walker. Rusty, thank you so much for being here. I am super excited to hear your story and your experience and the value that you have to provide us here. Rusty is the former general manager of Thunder Marine. He has over 40 years of industry experience in the dealership business, and he's the owner of Walker Ventures. I'm super excited to have you here, Rusty. Thank you so much.
Hello, Jose. Thank you for having me very much. I followed a lot of your stuff and it's very impressive. So just to be part of it is super cool. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Rusty.
Yes, I feel a little old when you say 40 years experience, but it is. It definitely is that much between auto and marine. My first 20 years was in the auto industry. It started off in my dad's business, and I was fortunate to learn all aspects of the industry, from the buying to the purchasing to the S&I side. And this was back in the late 70s, early 80s. The business was a bit different then. And then from there, I went into large stores, went into F&I director for some multiple stores, up to 15 business managers at a time, just really grew the finance side of the business, because what we learned was the auto industry was light years ahead of the marine and RV industry. Up the calendar a few years, and in 2000, a good friend of mine, salesperson, who was an absolute superstar, just a superstar. And we were good friends, and his father-in-law was awarded a new Bayliner Trophy Maxim dealership in St. Petersburg, Florida, on the water. And because him and I were good friends, and I had run with the Chevy store for quite a while, he asked me if I wanted to go run the marine store. And I loved the water, and I was pretty much sick of the car business. So I said, let's do it. And when we got into it, we did it just like we did when we started the store. We got trained. We trained our sales folks and trained our F&I people. We taught the processes. And when you're selling fun, it's so easy. That was the part that just shocked. We're used to waiting for point of contention. That's how we're taught out of industry. We're selling fun. We're selling biggest, funnest thing that someone would ever buy, whether it's a boat or an RV or anything. We learn really early. You almost have to screw it up to screw it up. And that's what I would tell guys. Look, let's just follow the processes. Don't get ahead of ourselves, and let's just keep the systems, keep it simple. I train 2 job functions for the salespeople. I teach TO systems just like we did back in the auto industry, but in a friendly, upbeat manner.
Awesome.
We immediately hit the ground running. And within the first year, we were top 3 sellers in all 3 of our lines. And it wasn't by doing anything special. It was just by doing things right and the way we knew.
Love it. Rusty, could you please give us an overview of what Walker Ventures offers to the boating industry?
Certainly. We're a company that has a true passion for helping dealers achieve more in every aspect, period. Unlike consultants who are going to look at your numbers and just compare you to a 20 group and give you some advice, with my experience, we're going to get in there, find your specific rooms per game, show you the processes to put into place to achieve the ones that we need to first, and then work down the line. And that's with my experience, I can show the processes necessary and train those, as opposed to just pointing to the numbers and say, you're at the top of your group or at the bottom of your group and they can even tell you why, but they can't show you how to fix it. That's it.
Love it. All right. So we'll go into more detail later on, but I just wanted to hear also your story of how you got into the boating industry.
That is when I was a general sales manager at a Chevrolet store. One of my very good salesmen had the opportunity from a family father-in-law to open a new boat dealership in St. Petersburg. And He asked me, they needed someone to run it and to oversee it. And they asked me, they knew my management skills. And his father-in-law was a previous car guy. So he knew that if we ran it that way, that's what he wanted to do. So I immediately, we went in, we hired from the sales folks, a team of 8, which is good size for a marine store, but we had a good size store. I got a F&I person. We started signing up lenders. We did all the things we needed to do to start a store and pretty much hit the ground running. It was in 2001. And so we were literally running in 90 days. We took a 90-day training period where we actually used another dealership, his father-in-law's store, as a training ground. And I just went through the applications and just went through the process. And I've been a trainer my whole life, my whole career. So training salespeople and F&I people, and it's literally a 7 or 8 day process. The good news about what we do in the processes we train is that it's ongoing. You can't train a person to go out in 5 days and make it a career. That'd be like doing what you did. You can play around with video for a few days, or you can sit down and show them a class, but that's not going to give them 40 years experience or how to coach a $100,000 deal.
Yeah.
So training never stops, and a coach doesn't leave the field. He's on the practice field, but he's also there on game time.
Yes.
Same guy. So that's the difference. We need to make sure we train the salesperson on what to bring to the coach or the manager, and then what to take to the F&I person. And if that process doesn't happen all 3, then it all breaks down. That's the difference.
Got it.
And it's the way we train it. And most of the time we just walk around with the fingers up, wondering, hey, I can't get this done, or I can't get this help. There has to be a hierarchy, a system, and a simple job function way to take the pressure off the sales team.
Got it.
Don't beat up on the sales guys. That's not the way to go. We need to support the sales. We need to give them all the ammo and all the help we can give them. And they didn't need to know that because I don't know if this is the time to say it, but I checked the average selling boat right now, $75,000. That's cheap side. And now when they double the interest rates, that's almost $1,000 a month for a boat, which you go fishing in.
Yeah.
You better handle that customer with care. It's always been recreational money. It's expendable income, but now it's really, really important.
Yeah. And the prices going higher and higher.
And the rates have doubled the payments. And to be honest with you, as bad as the increase in payment of prices are, which is horrible, the rate increase is just as bad or worse. Because most people aren't cash buyers. Most customers are going to finance it, even if they can't afford it.
Yeah.
They're going to hold back now, and that number is 8-9%, where when it was 5-6% for so long, they were. And to be honest with you, we needed to wait that out a while because we have 10 years worth of extremely low rates. Been at this a long time, and we have a whole generation of people that think this is what is normal.
Yes, they're used to the low rates.
It's all they've known. And now increases have been so high, so fast. In this past 12 months, what's happened is to try to slow everything down. I get it. But people are saying, well, they're going to put their brakes on. And the recreation industry will always be hit the hardest first. So better have our systems in place, have our T's crossed and our I's dotted, making sure we're maximizing on every dollar we can maximize on. And with those processes in place, that's how we do that.
Love it. Rusty, and so you started in 2001, Thunder Marine. And then how was that 30, 90-day period? What were some of the challenges that you found, and how did you overcome the challenges to become a successful dealership?
Jose, I was lucky because I had started enough stores before. We had started from scratch. I knew what we needed to do as far as sales training, going through the applications. If you had no offense, but if you could smile and brought some aptitude, I can train. You're trainable. If you've got got a good attitude and some want to, we can lead you because again, this position is always being coached and our industries don't do it. They don't have the people to do it and they don't train to do it. And that's the reason you can look and you're finding out yourself. You're seeing that there's 3 or 4 dealerships or groups of dealers, however you want to call them, that get it and they run it and you can tell that they're hitting on their cylinder. But for the most part, it doesn't happen. They don't have the access, whether they're untrained, they haven't done it before or don't. But if you don't, you're just going to miss the proverbial boat, as we say.
Yeah.
That's where all those rooms per gain are. That's right. That's the positive side because that money's already there. These are deals. Yes, some plus business is great, but gosh, we just maximize on the dollars we have and capture and don't lose them.
Yeah. What are some of the rooms for gain that you talk about? If you were to categorize them, which would those be?
I would think mostly what I see rooms per gain is certainly gross profit. Okay. 80%, you want to hold your grosses. That's you got to hold gross percentages. And whether that's some shorties and some biggies. The good thing about the boat business is that you're pretty much got to sell at MSRP for that year, first year. You can't advertise for any less, stranglehold. But on the other hand, everybody's in the same sandbox. But I would say gross profit, number one, F&I profit is probably the largest room for gain, period, in the story. Because even if they have an F&I department, they're not hitting it on all the cylinders. They're not getting a warranty, a full warranty, extra warranty on every deal. They're not getting the full rate difference between what the lender offers and what the buy rate is. They're not getting that third item. I say we should be getting 2 to 2.5 products on every deal. Now, does that mean you're going to get everyone? No, but should you? Yeah, most of them. Because who's going to buy a 250 outboard and not want a 10-year warranty? Nobody that's ever owned one will ever not buy a warranty. This is what I trained because I sold them for years. When I went to sell a warranty, and I would say this payment includes a full 8-year warranty on your Yamaha. And if the customer were to say, I thought it had 3 years, it does, this extends it to 8. I don't really want that extra 5. I look them right and I said, this must be your first boat, right? And they go, how'd you know? I said, because no previous boater ever turns down a warranty on a boater. And I said, because it's true. There's few things in life that it's a deal, and this is one of them. And you certainly don't have to take it. And penetration or warranty should be through the roof. And profit in Florida is 100%, and we're the low ones. We're regulated here. We can only mark it up 100%. In the other states, mark it up as much as you want. So those two, front end grows, back end grows, inventory control. Because if you don't have inventory control, that's when these installment and curtailments and interest payments start. Look, if you're writing checks out of your profit, it's just like giving your profit away. The sales don't do that part, but we developed what we call a core inventory, Jose, 15 years ago, because when this started to happen before, and we saw how the older inventory was building up on us, we had to go out and buy rack, put up in the back of the dealership to put all the boats as they were coming in. We were peeing our drawers because we were in trouble, big trouble. And they were.
That was 2009.
Yes. And it was like, oh crap. And we were right there from shutting the doors, just like everybody else. But we developed a core. Look, we're going to sell these. We're going to sell the oldest one first. I don't care if I have to put this much wax on it. Keep it in the front, keep that thing shiny. But the ones that are on the top, they're not coming down. You just got to get your core inventory and then you go to the top of that list and you don't let a manager sell off the bottom. Right. And then what happens over time is that it cleans up. Your inventory cleans to where you don't have the age report. And then we develop the hit list. And this is carryover from the auto industry. The hit list, every month, you pick your top 10 boats, your oldest 10, and you throw a nice fat spiff on it for your sales guys. Simple stuff. Throw an extra $500 on it. You don't care. Watch that salesman jump
Yeah.
on it, throw an extra grand on it. And
Mhm.
that should always be
Being strategic.
good for gain or profit. Those are the things I look at.
So it's front end, gross
Gross,
profit, and then the back end.
which is
Yeah.
your finance. When we say back end, we refer to the finance income, warranty, gap insurance, interior protection, gel coat protection, all those items that you sell on with a loan, or you can sell them after the fact when you put them on in the service department. They're all really high gross profit. All those back end products, very low to put on. And of course, the warranties cost you. You're making thousands of dollars. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's
And there's the education component to explain to the new boaters that, you
a
know,
100%, 100%. And that's part of the business manager's job that we teach them. That's the F&I position. He's the one that's delivering, the person that delivers the boat is going through the paperwork. They're going to make sure this is what you have. This is what it covers 100%. And there's a very good possibility that this will have to be done before the close. When we go into Power Sports menu, you can't see it behind me, but we talk about that. The dealers that are going to be using that, this is going to be sent to the customer in a video, and it's going to explain it to them. And if they have questions, they can call the dealer, but if not, it's going to be very self-explanatory. A visual video shows especially what's covered, how long it's covered, and let them make the decision. Makes total sense. Where we miss out as dealers, number one, is we don't ask. We let customers walk right out the door. They go get their money. They come back with their money. Done deal. And we never brought it up, except maybe later. Good luck trying to call them at a week and sell them a warranty for $4,000 or $5,000.
yeah.
Yeah. Good luck.
And then they get the engine stops working and they don't have a warranty. So,
Well, now you're the bad guy and the whole thing down the road. And there is something today, and I've been at this long enough, about compliance and respect that everyone should be offered. And then I can go to bed at night and know, look, I know my customers offered a warranty. Period. We asked all of ours. Why wouldn't we?
yeah.
I'm required to. And God forbid if I had an F&I person not go through a menu of products that his boat was eligible for and not let the customer say yes and no. Okay, here's why I think you should. Okay, great. We'll take these off. We'll keep these, whatever.
Yeah.
Some people are going to take them, some aren't. But it's still the largest, probably room for gain in the majority of dealers, except ones that were probably ex-car stores, to where they understood the process. In an auto store, you're not going to get out of there without seeing a business manager. And we can talk about it today as you want, but there's easy ways to introduce a business manager in a dealership. It's not, hey, I'm dragging you into the finance guy. It's not like the guy in the office, right? No, that's not it.
Yeah. The scary part of the transaction.
Correct. And it's not like that. Remember, we sell fun. People already know what they cost. We're not in a world anymore where people are walking down. They pretty much know price ranges, pretty much know payment ranges. They pretty much know your rate ranges. You can get everything online. You can look up stuff. You don't come in uneducated as a rule. So we would be foolish to just sit there and act like a bunch of dumbasses. We can't say that, but that's what happens. You insult integrity. And if they're making that sort of a purchase, look, they got more money than the average guy. And if they're out there buying a toy that's this kind of money that they might use once a week or once a month, who knows, they should be treated like here. They're already happy and they're high and feeling great. Why should we bring them down? So we need to keep our attitude 110%. We need to be, so from the first time we shake that hand, it's like my video shows, my training video, from that hello, and that better be, you better think that's Santa Claus. That's how happy you should be. And then all the way through the process. And if they don't buy a boat, no big deal. You've been professional. You've done the things you need to do. You got to introduce yourself to one or two people. You act professionally, and we're going to follow up and maybe get them back in, because the chances of someone walking in and making that large of a purchase without coming back is almost zilch. And setting expectations is important. And if we expect that to happen, you're just going to be disappointed. But if our focus and our job function is just to do these things, and then whatever happens at the end happens, it's okay. If we meet and greet right, we do the selection process, the interview thing, we go out there, find a boat, do a walk around, get them at least liking it and not quite sure. Okay, you've done your job, right?
Yeah.
You've gone as far as that. You can try to push them off a cliff all you want, right? They're not going to say, oh, all of a sudden you're going to give them, be ready to buy now. Yeah. You can ask them, you're going to know when that time comes, but we can't expect somebody to stroke a check or say yes to a 6-figure or whatever figure.
Yeah. They need the guidance. And what are some of the mistakes that you see in that process with salespeople and then also the business managers?
The largest problem with all of it, again, is training, because it shouldn't be up to the sales. No offense to them, but
Should be a process laid out that they
right.
just
There's your dealership strategically should be laid out where a salesperson doesn't have the ability to meet and greet a customer and get in and out of the dealership without at least someone seeing them, or at least coming to the office where a manager or someone put their eye on them. So at least there's some accountability to the salesperson. Look, nobody comes in here and leaves without at least a hello and thanks for coming by. You know?
Yeah. With the layout is already
Correct. 100%. And it really ought to be, you can only go in one way and go out the same way. Okay. So you're just going to come in this door. You're going to greet. We're going to talk. We're going to actually, if you go into my videos, you'll see how ideally you set your store up where you don't even let somebody get into the inventory until you actually, pass the interview process. Let's take a few minutes, Mr. Customer, to share some information. And I'm going to go out there and I'll show you 2 or 3 boats. Instead of going out there trying to look at 30 like this. That's what people, they go out there on the lot. You know why?
Yeah.
Because, they don't know what they're looking at. They all. So it's wasted time. It's hot. And then they start looking at price tags and you know what they're wanting to pay for it. Yeah, it's just not, we skip the process.
Yeah. And what are those questions that you ask there when they get into the dealership and you go through the interview process? What are the most important points that you need to get?
Number one, are you a previous boater?
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, because that's going to tell me a lot. If you're a first time boater and here in Florida, about half are first timers. So it's about a 50-50 deal. So it's a legit question, but we handle it not totally different, but pretty different, because the selection process, as far as picking out a boat, is much simpler with the previous boater, because he pretty much narrowed down what he wants. He already has a boat. He's had at least one. He's either going to keep the same and get bigger. Most people get 2-foot eiders and want to get a little bigger. We all get that. Or realize that's not what they want. They want to change the style, but they know they don't want a center console anymore. They'd rather go to a deck boat or whatever it is. But the time boater, we've got to, just spend a little bit more time. What are you going to be doing with the boat? Type of boating you got to do? You're going to the lake, skiing, you're fishing, you're going offshore, you're staying inshore, price range. There's a lot. There's probably 7 or 8, 9 qualifying questions that we can narrow it down, which is our sales folks. And that's what we tell the customer before we go out into the inventory. Folks, let's just share some information and we'll go out and pick a few boats. And then once we get that information, we should know this. It's not like you're going to have that many that are going to fit. And that then is called showtime. And that's another one of my videos is that now it's game on. Now go out there and show your wares with your salesperson. And because a boat, there's nothing, or an RV, there's nothing prettier than to show. Yeah. Come on. This is the happiest moment. Truly. This is showtime, what I call it. And you need to start the bow of that boat and work your way down on it by the engines, let them crawl on it, smell it, just all they can do. And that's taking mental ownership. And then it'll get to a price thing and we can see what happens. But those are the processes that most dealers don't have in place. And so they struggle. They just don't know where to go. They don't. That
Yeah.
first meet and greet, from that meet and greet to out the door. Some guys, the old veteran, yeah, I'll just take them. I know my inventory. I'll just take them on out. I know what to show them. I know the way to do it. I've had them all, Jose, all the veterans, all the guys that know how to do it, from the rookie to the really good to the know-it-all that's really good, but very hard to deal with. He bucks the system and he blows out more than he tells. It's that same, hey, the guy hits a lot of home runs, but he strikes out a lot. And not necessarily a good example for the others.
Yeah. So it's just having that process very clear and detailed step by step so that
100%.
scalable also. You can have the whole team just go through it and it will work every time.
And Jose, and it requires constant training. That doesn't mean you got to beat them over the head regularly, because sooner or later that sales force will get it. And then when you bring in one or two at a time, they'll pick up on it pretty quick. But it's not like you have to continue to beat them, but we always need to coach during the deal. That's the crucial time. It's during the deal. They understand the TO, the turnover, walk them and get a little interview. And look, they don't want to go out and walk in the heat for an hour to try to pick up a boat. They're smart enough to stay in the air conditioning and do the interview. My guys are smart, because who wants to go out there? So they have all that down.
What happens after that? So you do the interview process and you already narrow down from the whole inventory to, let's say, 2 or 3 options. So now the client is looking at prices. How does that work out? What are the next steps? How do you help them like choose one and just?
So once and I'll play salesperson, we've gone through a particular boat and we see all those signs, mama smiling, daddy smiling.
Yeah. So looking at the gestures and
that head
exactly.
nodding this way. And the salesperson is involved in showing and looking, and because there's plenty of things to show and look at. And then at some point you need to ask the question, let me ask you something. If we can get the terms agreeable, is this the boat you want to buy?
Yeah.
Just look them right in the eye. And that doesn't mean, hey, do you have to buy this boat? No, but if we understand, I have nothing to do with the terms. Yes, we do the best we can there. But if we can get the price right, terms agreeable, is this the one? Because my job, like I told you when I met, is that I have 2 job functions, which we didn't go into earlier. But I tell the customer this up front. Mr. Customer, I'm given 2 job functions at this dealership. One is to make sure we pick the perfect boat for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is to make you smile about the price. I can't do the second until we do the first. So this is where we're going to just ask a few questions, and that precedes the interview. It allows you to down, get the information, and then go into the inventory, pick out a boat, pick one out if we're able to, and then say, okay, if the terms are agreeable, is this the boat? Now, what am I doing? I'm solidifying the selection, and I've done my job as a salesperson. I truly have. Because if the customer says, yes, I like that boat, follow him, go inside. Now it's time to get him out of the inventory, get him out of the heat, get him in your office, get him a cold coat, get him cooled off.
Yeah.
And then go to get you what we call a worksheet and start the deal. And there's a way to start it. That's a whole nother hour. Serving the numbers. In my videos, I call it serving the eggs. As a waiter, as far as presenting the numbers, we have to eat the eggs. We just have to serve them. We're not paying for it. But that's where the coaching comes in, right? Because you're going into the coaching manager and he's going to settle you down. If the salesman needs it, settle down. Good job. Got them where you want them. Let's get the pricing. Let's check the VIN, make sure I'm going to check the VIN you have, make sure that we're on the right boat, because I've got a list of boats here. Make $1 million sitting out there in inventory. I don't want to work up a deal. It's not even the right boat. So it's going to take a few minutes. So we kind of calm things down, and then we write the price. We show them a simple price. We get the trade information. If they have a trade that they're going to have to already have filled out, we're going to have to go out and appraise the trade in. There's going to be some time, and then we'll serve the eggs. We'll get the numbers, and then we'll go, hey, good news. Here we go.
Yeah.
Sign
You
it.
get
3 copies.
a lot of resistance when you present the price. There was customers.
I would say this, a lot of resistance, maybe some resistance, but I would say most of the time, if you're presenting them numbers, that deal is going to close. So resistance may come, but not to the point where the deal doesn't happen. So you might have to give a little. And that's what happens. A little negotiating will come in. And
how can you play there with the numbers? Like, what is the process there? Like, how does that work?
You can't knock the smile off of the face right now. Well, these aren't like trade secrets, but what did we talk about earlier about the most important thing, room for gain at dealerships was gross profit, was front end gross profit. And there's a margin, gross margins that we try to stay within in order to make the dealership run. So every time we cut into that deal, okay, because every deal let's say we want to use 17% as the number that we want to maintain 17. I'm just calling a number out.
Yeah.
But if we wanted to use that number as our average gross profit that we want for the dealership for front end gross, then that $10,000 boat, I need to make $1,700 on. And if I make less than that, then I'm whittling away at that gross profit for my month.
Yeah.
Now, do I whittle that little away to make a deal? Sure, we will. And then do I have the back end? Do I have the F&I income to come back and bring a little back to me? This we call over here. And if I can go make 3 or 4 or 5 grand on the back end, why get stubborn over $1,000 or 2 on the front end?
Yeah. So it's being really smart with the numbers and
Jose, that's another reason dealers start set up in the F&I and take advantage of it. They don't know.
Yeah.
Have that on. So it's either cut the deal, take the loss, or don't take it.
Yeah.
I'd like to know that, hey, I take the loss, I can come back, you can get a couple of grand. It is because the money's laying there.
And what are those products, Rusty? What are like the best options? What are the offerings in the back end?
So from profit, the first profit is interest spread, what they call the spread. So whatever the banks give you as an interest rate, they pay us as a dealer a couple of points of that. Okay. Period. Right off the top. It's just interest income. Just bam, comes out to every quarter point of, gosh, I'm going right down the tubes. Every quarter point of interest that's increased, we get paid a full point in reserve. We're usually allowed to move it up 1.5 points, which would pay us 6%. So that's a chunk of change.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get a gap policy is about $1,000 profit. And very popular. Anybody that doesn't buy a gap is just a nut because it has great coverage for just a little bit of money.
What is the gap policy?
Gap insurance is if you total or sink your boat, it's going to pay the difference between what you owe on it and the value. If you owe $50,000 on your boat, it's only worth 30 grand, which a lot of boats are over financed, so they're undervalued. So the insurance company is only going to settle for the value of the boat, not for your loan. Your loan has nothing to do with the value of the boat and whether you have it insured for. Insurance is going to pay you your value of your boat. The shortage between the value of your boat and your payoff is what your gap insurance will pay. $1,000 can save you $10,000. And that you could be pulling your boat and somebody crash it on the road, and that's more apt to happen than sinking it. But I have seen some boats go down.
Yeah. But it's definitely an important.
And it's a very easy sell, because if you had $1,500 on a 180-month payment, it's $8.
Yeah.
You're not even, and when the way we serve the payment, it's included. And why would you say no?
Yeah.
So that one between, so you have the rate, you have gap, and then you have engine protection.
Hmm.
Buy an engine warranty today. And even though the factory warranties are 3 and 5 years, I'd buy one for 10 in a minute.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of profit there on the back end. But if it is not set up, Jose, and that is just as important, and we'll call them the sales manager or the desk manager, whatever we want to call them, the one that's running the deal itself. If that turnover process doesn't happen properly to get to the finance person in order for these items to be loaded, sold, and presented every single time, and you don't get a buy-in by all your sales guys, and we're not letting one go out the door here, and like we were talking about earlier, you're going to miss the 1 or 2 shots you get.
Yeah. So many moving parts that have to be working together at the same time in an organized way for the end result.
Yeah. And it's funny because once you look on the outside, I look over the years, and I see how you need to control your traffic. And that's what we were talking about before, is for traffic. How someone comes in, how they cannot get out into the inventory, which I call no man's land. And that's what I call it. Because once they get out there, man, it is hard to reel them in.
Yeah. They're going to get all overwhelmed and just lost.
All the options, they don't even know what they're looking at. Have you ever been on a boat dealership lot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just
Everything, even a little boat looks big. Small boat looks large. So if you're on a large boat, it does become overwhelming, and it just throws us out of tempo. If we can teach that tempo of the sale, then it'll work out better for everyone, I can assure you. And what it also does, it also allows you to groom people for those positions, which I've done for years, because obviously if a good sales guy wants to, if he wants to, someone will stay there because they make enough money. But if one wants to go and make that next step to be a good desk guy, and he's a good salesman, then he knows what it takes. He's done the process. He understands how it helps, what to do. He's trainable because we know that. So what a perfect guy, right? And that's what I've spent my career, is bringing people up, whether it's as a finance person or whatever that is. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I work all the time. So
yeah, if the process is all set up and organized, it's just changing people from seats.
I could at any time, but not that they would want to, but at any time I could take any of my sales guys and put them in the manager's seat and say, work the desk. Okay. Work the desk. So they would know, if when the salesman came in with a deal with a customer in their office, they would know what to do. They would know what to look up, how to approach it. It's just that you need that third person. And see, that's the other thing. Still, a lot of dealers will try to work it on their own, because that veteran salesman, I can work my own deal.
Yeah. It messes up the whole system, the whole process.
No offense. I'm old. I know about the veterans, but as a rule, they don't follow a system. If they do, God bless them, because they'll probably be killer because they're good and they'll have more opportunity.
Yeah. So that's another challenge that you see, like the big egos and just personalities, forgetting everyone to align with the process and the system that it's.
And we also have to keep in mind the size of our sales forces is usually small. It might be 2 or 3. And so if one who's been there 15 years does it his way, and you got the new kid, the leader parts guy, but it's probably good sales kid, but he's learning from the veteran that's been doing it his way since Frank Sinatra. But it would be hard to build on that. Have somebody to come in and say, hey, take it. And that's a big decision for an owner. We have to get somebody in there, somebody understands the system, train those salespeople, be there to follow up. I don't know why we think this industry is any different than the rest, that we can just learn it and do it and go out and be fine about it.
Yeah.
Never have I understood that in my 40 plus years. And the auto industry was the same way. You didn't have to be a butthead to be in the car business. You could be a good guy, treat people right, and get repeat business and do it the right way. When we went into the marine side, it's just too simple. Keep your attitude right, do the right thing, treat people well. It's not hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maximizing gross profit, you'll go under in the bad times because we will be the first industry that takes the hit in the bad times. And if we're not prepared, and it's not doom and gloom, but by golly, there was ever a time, just look at the few items we touched on already, right?
Yeah.
I start thinking about all those, I start getting weirded out.
Just to close on the transaction. So we talked about the backend products. We talked about the interest, the gap policy, the engine coverage. Also, is there anything else that we
Your interior and gel coat, whatever
Mhm.
you call it, interior or exterior protection, very profitable. So most of your cruisers, your nice runabouts, your Maxima, your speedboats, those high gel coats, you want to keep them looking nice. Those things fade out like crazy, especially salt water. They oxidize so bad. Um,
Yeah.
Not really inexpensive to do, but it's profitable for the dealer. And it needs to be offered to every customer.
Yeah.
All you can do is say no. But boy, I would hate for, just like you were saying, I would hate for them in 6 months after coming into that where we in Florida, you ski or whatever 12 months a year. So in 6 months from now, they come in and that thing's oxidized on down the side.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
scratches and stuff, and they were never offered
yeah,
a
and
solution.
they're like, hey, what's up? And we go, hey, remember we offered you? I don't know. I didn't remember you offered me a score, because they don't stay looking new. And my brother has two large boats, and you don't want to know what he spends on them. Makes me sick. But that's what bring out another 1,000 means. I'm not trying to scare folks. And that's the point. People that buy boats and RVs are prepared to spend the money to take care of them.
Yeah.
We
And they
look,
want to take care of them.
we look at it like I'm trying to shove something up, or I'm trying to sell them a less than good product, better way to put it, an after sale. It's a warranty. What's this? Not amazing because we've been at it a long time, but what we have definitely learned is the customer's perception is if it's served properly and at the right time, the chances of them accepting it are much higher than after the fact. Doesn't
Yeah.
make it like any different, right? But
Yeah.
perception
Think
of the
the
customer,
excitement also of just I'm getting the boat finally. I
and
want to take
I've
the
got to go back in my pocket. I think of that thing and I got to go here again. Man, I just came out with 60 grand.
yeah.
Now you want to for another six?
Yeah.
It's something about it. Had enough for now. I tell you what, call me in 30 days and I'll look at it. Yeah, good luck then. So,
And what are the best practices after that, after offering the back end products? What's the rest of the process? Again,
from a
so
delivery standpoint or
like the whole transaction, since we started with the interview with the customer and then just we're going all over the process. So just to close the transaction.
okay, so once the customer accepts, and depending on the finance method the dealership has, okay, just, I won't go into it deeply, but if you have an in-house person, if you have an outside provider that's doing your finance for you, or if you learn about power sports, you have someone inside that can use that. But whatever methods, once the payments have been agreed to by the customer, and to include whatever products we can get, whether it's warranty, gap, whatever. Hopefully all three or any of the three people that we use offers all the products. And
Yeah.
that's what I would do in your store, is that I'm going to make sure, I don't care who you got, I'm going to make sure they're doing it the right way. Then I'll know that you're making sure you're getting all of it. So once those are accepted and the deal is quote loaded, meaning depending on whatever it is, they load the contract, they put in all the numbers, They load in all the extra products. They print all the documents from the loans to the warranties to the title work, registration, everything very similar to a car transaction. It's packed about that fat. And that's where you want an admin person. I call it the Susie role because I had a Susie forever. You want somebody that's sharp, that can make sure T's are crossed, I's are dotted. He or she is your go-to person that you go. And when it gets sent off, the chances of it getting funded and back here correctly are 99.9%. Okay. Instead of it missing a dot or missing a signature or something that's going to slow us down.
Yeah.
This person and anyone in the office can learn it. But the F&I, if you have an in-house F&I manager, that's his job. His or her job for sure. A sales manager can definitely do a delivery, and a salesman can, but I certainly wouldn't suggest it. And I would definitely go over it and show them how to do it and what's important and what's not. It's not that you're hiding anything. It's just more of making sure everything's done so you can collect and be funded. That's pretty much it, because the closing per se is they've already agreed to the numbers before they left as far as price. We've already called them, or the outside provider or Power Sports Menu. So they've already seen with their payment with other products. So if they've agreed to take them, they know what it is added. If we need to call them, we'll call them. The outside provider is going to call them. So they're going to be 100% knowing when they come into the deal what it is. There's no surprises when they sit down in the closing office.
No.
That's because you don't want that. Oh,
no, that's horrible.
That's what Power Sports Menu stops. That's one of the things when we were talking about those stores earlier that they're just not prepared or staffed to have one. Or really, they can't afford one to put a person in there to sell 10 or 12 boats a month, enough money to sell and pay them, make enough back in. Power Sports Menu, $400 a month. They can have somebody put it in and send it to a customer. They sell one product, it pays for itself and profit. One product. They should be able to sell 30. So that's why it was developed, because there's such a need in that space, because people are either too big and they're still trying to figure it out, or they're too small and they still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And then there comes the delivery, right? And
then the delivery process. So once they come out of the finance office or closing office, whatever we want to call it, then the salesperson has the boat ready in the water. And actually, we do a sea trial prior to closing. We always did give the customer the opportunity to ride in the boat. Now, we had the approval. We had his acceptance of the payment as far as all that was concerned before we would go to rig a boat, fuel up a boat, put it in the water. But we had those things done. And then he still had to ride the boat, which we thought it was more than fair. Before you say I do, at least you run it. Because there's no driving a boat just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
So they would do the sea trial. And then, of course, they still got the smile on their face from ear to ear because they felt their boat. They can't wait to sign. That's the way you want it. And so what happened? Their attitude when they came in, their dealership was up here. And where was their attitude when they left?
Yeah.
It's the way boating and RV should. We would love the auto industry to be that way, and they try. Okay. But you have to have a car. You don't have to have a boat. You don't have to have an RV. These are toys. These are nothing but high-end toys for people that ain't got nothing else to do with the money.
Mm-hmm. That's a big difference between auto and RV and marine, right?
Period. It's called recreation.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
And that changes the whole sales process, has to be like in completely another level.
I think I wouldn't say another level, Jose. I would just say when I was in the auto industry, we were the same way. I had the happiest sales crew on the planet. Why? We treated each other well. We ran a good show. We took care of each other. We had a lot of fun. But we didn't let that negativity get in. That's controlled by someone on the floor. But betterment or the advantage of the recreation side It's just that you don't have that grind that a lot of customers come in. I call it the fist. A lot of customers, when you go onto a dealership, a car dealer, their fists are up.
Yeah. Cause there's a lot of reputation, bad reputation.
And I have my fist down. Well, no. Okay. I train when a customer comes on a boat dealership, RV dealership, let's just start up. They're not coming here to fight with nobody. They're not
Yeah.
afraid or in protect mode. No, they're coming here to look at a boat or an RV. So
Yep.
we teach in the auto industry how to break down the glove. You got to earn that. You got to earn the respect to get the gloves down, or you're not getting a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So what we learned, so as soon as we got in this industry, like, hey, people are coming in, giving it. Hey, what can I see? And what an advantage, right? So that's what we realized in the beginning. We got to be the ones to screw this up. It's got to be a jackass to piss off a boat buyer. When in the world did you tell the guy? Hey, what you do to the guy?
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. Like in the auto industry, customers need the car. So they need to get it and they come defensive because I need to make this happen. But I guess in the boating industry, it's more like it's a luxury. So I'm going to enjoy the process. I don't really need it. So if something doesn't go well, I can just leave. I don't care. So it's
Yes,
more
and I
about,
think as much that and the overall history of the industry.
yeah.
The auto industry, I'm not going to say got a bad rap. They deserve a lot of stuff they got. But I do also know there's a lot of good dealers out there.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. And the used car side, it's just, there's a whole lot of that. I don't know, I've only been in it since 2000, but boating didn't struggle. Now, I will say they have had some issues when it comes to some manufacturers getting bought out and some cheap boats being built cheaper. And of course, we've had price increases that are just really stupid, Jose. And the auto business did it too, right? Golly, price of a car, I can't even believe it.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Yeah. Nearing the end of the episode, what are some of the challenges and opportunities that you see in the boating industry right now and also in the near future?
The biggest challenges that I see, similar to when we went through these before, number one is paying those floor plan and curtailments. That's in your face every month and every quarter.
Lower demand, right, from
That's
customers.
just, you're just writing a check that you're paying interest on the money that you're borrowing for that inventory that's sitting on your lot. So the longer it sits there, the more you're paying and you continue to pay. And then just doubling the interest rate, it's just double that, just literally. That is very painful. The other thing going through this is salesperson retention. You're almost guaranteed to lose one or two. Very painful for any manager, as hard as it is to build a team, to have to lose one or two because they're starving. That's what's happening now. There's not enough business to go around. And a couple of guys will probably make it. A couple of guys probably won't. And then when it starts back up, you got to go find them again.
Yes.
So that's what bothered me the most, because they're hurting because you're not giving them any paycheck for the last 3 months or 4 months. Not like it's news. Challenges that way in 2026, 25 and 26, you're going to see inventories shrink considerably because dealers will not be reordering because they're going to get backed up. So we're going to go from way too many, then the prices hopefully may settle some, but they're going to have to hold on to that stuff until it moves. And then they'll start reordering again. But right now, if you look at the market share that's selling, it's the top 3% only. It's like the $500,000 boat range and above.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it is in the dumpster.
The demand is low.
It's very low. So the average boat buyer is saying time out. Okay. The top 3%, they're the top 3%, they don't care.
Yeah.
And they're not affected. So if they're buying $500,000 and up, that's the low side. that means they're buying, they're in that 40-footer and above, then they don't really care. And I understand that. So if you're in that market, you're probably, I'm not going to say fine, but you'll be better off than all of us trying to struggle in that 50-gram boat range, which used to be 25,000. So you can even feel their pain. I do. And I was in that. I don't want to sound old, but we were selling 18-foot Bayliner for $99.95. $99.95 boat,
Right.
motor, and trailer. No kidding. That was, and I believe me, then when the shit hit the fan, we had a rack of them. Probably had 30. Scared the heck out of them. But you're going to have to go for it. The market's going to take, and as far as challenges, it's going to be riding the storm out. That's what it's going to be. Processes in place so that as it returns, when it returns, you'll be able to hit on all your cylinders. Okay. When we were fat and happy and we were all selling boats and RVs, it was all fine. Now the truth comes out. You're going to see where we have some rooms for gain. Let's get in there and find them. Let's tweak the things we can and try to make some extra dollars to get us through this. And any of us that have been through it know it. And there's no snap of the fingers. There's no miracle cure. I know some smart boat guys, and we're all pretty much saying the same thing. And they're grin and bear it, buckle down, get on the telephones, follow your leads, stay on the phones, get me some social stuff. Guys like you, bring me something. I'm begging. That's what I'd be reaching out for right now. I'd be putting the pressure on you guys, all you new trenders.
Yeah. Yeah. To bring more people, first get at the awareness of the dealership to the fewer people that are willing to buy a boat right now, and then maybe even bring more people into boating.
Absolutely. No, it's everybody wants to. That's why they live here.
Yeah.
We got water everywhere. I was saying there's the reason I never left, and it's hot as hell. Right. But I can't imagine not living around it.
Do you see any similarities between '09 and what's going on today?
Yeah, I'd say pretty much everything tightened up on the recreation side, for sure. We might be a little bit worse off economy-wise this time around. I think our inflation, no economist, I know what property and what inflation, and the rates didn't do this last time. And that has a big effect. The rates have to do with everything. I believe our rates were way too low, too long. And there was no adjustment. And I'm not blaming anyone, but as old as I am, you can't stay in below 5-digit, 4-digit numbers for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's prior to World War II. So this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And we rode that horse for as long as we can. So now we're going to have to adjust, make the best of it. But those are about the only similarities, is that people are cutting back, jobs have backed off, even though that part isn't quite as bad. But
yeah. And so in the opportunity side, you said just look for the rooms per gain, improve the systems, improve the processes so that obviously get out of the situation, be able to stay up.
Well, we got to, if you don't hit all 4 bases, you don't score a run. I don't care how hard you hit the ball. Okay. Good times or bad times. You better know that, look in the mirror and say, I know that every lead is being followed up. I know that every opportunity is being called by a salesperson and then followed up by a manager. I know that once that customer comes in, he gets on a log of some sort. Okay. And yet he's gone through some sort of process where I know he was said hello to, he was shown a boat or got through an interview process, and then he was exited by a manager.
Yeah.
And as an owner or a general manager, I would not accept anything less. And if that was something as simple as a daily desk log, and if I had 3 customers in the day, I'd have that information. Instead of what happened today, oh, we had a couple of people. What does that mean? Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't have processes in place to follow up. And if I can't get something as simple as that done, how in the world am I going to get TO processes, salesmen doing interviews before they get in inventories, and getting it to F&O? doing those other things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's time to tighten up, improve processes, and get ready for whenever the next wave comes by.
Are you familiar with football terms?
A little bit.
Okay. Blocking and tackling is the two basic things in all of football. So first two things they teach is how to block and tackle. Because if you don't have that, you got nothing. You don't block for the QB, he's done. And you
Yeah.
can't
The basic.
oh, he's going to run forever. And it's the basic two things. You got to block and tackle. And that's the ugly part of football. It's dirty. It's in the trenches, but you got to do it. Fundamentally, if you don't, the rest of the game goes to crap. You got no, and that's what we got to go back to basics, block and tackle, get processes in place that include those items. That makes
No.
sense.
Yeah. Rusty, just last question.
Okay.
How do you see Walker Ventures in the future? What is your vision, long-term vision in the boating industry?
Wow. That's another great question. I just want to help dealers, Jose. It's not about the numbers or how many. I know that I have a lot to offer only because I've sat in so many seats and
Yeah.
I see the need. I'll be at the MRAA show upcoming in December, but I know that I can help. I know that if I could spend an hour with just about any dealer and then have an opportunity to share some information, I'm positive that I can find something that we can agree that needs to be looked at. And
Awesome. Rusty, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation and you brought a lot of value to our podcast.
hey, I appreciate your time as well. It's been a pleasure. I would like to do it again sometime. So feel free. Thank you very much.